Start our meeting. You guys look like you're all having a good time. That's great.
We'll take care of that.
A few minutes. But we're very happy to have you all here. I love it when there's full work. And that doesn't happen all that often. So anyway, I'm going to start the official meeting for April 25th, and please stand for the pledge and the invocation.
One day.
Sal?
Father God, thank you once again for entrusting us with your town. I ask you that you give us your wisdom and discernment to help make decisions that are the best for our town citizens. And may we honor you in all we say this evening. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Roll call. Who's doing roll call?
Commissioner Pollan here. Commissioner Ramos,
President?
Commissioner McMullen,
President.
Vice Mayor Satterfield, President, and Mayor Carter.
Yes.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Just FYI for those of you who see this man over here.
Been called worse.
This is our police chief, Darren Eason, and he is standing in for our interim town manager who has flown away on vacation. So give him some grace while he learns this very hard job. All right, we have quite a few presentations, and I'm sure that's why some of you are here. The first one is special. Oh, limited, hang on. No, I just need that. It's not in order. I'm sorry. Do we have a,
No, that won't be.
oh, so anyway, Special Olympics check presentation.
That's it. So, as they said, Darren Eason, speech today, acting town manager tomorrow. Mayor, commissioners, vice mayor, Lori Newcomb is here from Special Olympics Florida. Please come up. As you know, recently, Officer Castro planned and rolled out the second annual bench press competition. All the money that was taken in is donated to Special Olympics Florida. So I wanted to present Ms. Newcomb this check, but just give you a little background on the event itself. There were 40 participants from both law enforcement and civilian sector. It was an amazing event. It was held at the Oakland Avenue Charter School. Went off really well. Total, all the money taken in from it was $25 roughly entry fee for each person, and we were able to take in $983. Had some really good sponsors that came out and participated, but really this would not have happened without Officer Castro. And this is the purpose of his position. The department is doing exactly what he did here, and he did a really good thing to help it. Happened to be the 40th anniversary of Special Olympics Florida. So my pleasure on behalf of Officer Castro to present Ms. Newcomb with this check for what we took in for the bench press competitions. Commissioner.
I went to this event for a little bit and it was very impressive.
And she bench pressed 312.
Yeah.
And Lori was one of the competitors.
Congratulations, Officer Castro.
Who didn't win?
No.
Oh. There, a little bit, there we go. There we go.
Chief, stand up.
Oh, you're good. Well, there you go, there you go. All right, ready? Hey, oh, I see. Vice Mayor Satterfield. In.
Take your picture.
Oh, come on, you're supposed to do, don't be so stubborn. All right, got it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You mind if I just wanted to say a couple of things? Yeah, so I just wanted to definitely thank the Oakland PD. As you mentioned, we've been it's 40 years that law enforcement has been working with Special Olympics Florida. And we are statewide, we have more than 61,000 athletes who are competing. And it's because of partnerships like the law enforcement agency. There's more than 300 around the state that we work with, but in particular also Renee Castro is, he was with Claremont PD before and for years has been supporting Special Olympics. So he's like truly a gem in this community, and the Oakland PD, I know we all see so much that they do for charity. So I just really want to thank you all for what you do.
Thank you.
Chief Castro, thank you. Thank you.
Good job. Okay, the next one is proclamation for Teacher Appreciation Day. Shall read that. Whereas Oakland Avenue Charter School teachers future citizens through their guidance and education. And whereas Oakland Avenue Charter School teachers embrace students of widely different backgrounds and abilities. And whereas our society expects public education to provide quality education and services to all children, no matter what their backgrounds or abilities. Whereas our country's future depends in large measure on the education our youth receive. And whereas Oakland Avenue Charter School is proud of its commitment to teach character education and promote civic participation. And whereas Oakland Avenue Charter School teachers and staff spend countless hours outside their classrooms preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service. And whereas the town of Oakland recognizes that the teachers and staff are providing exceptional education services to our children. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Stark, Mayor of the town of Oakland, proclaim May 2nd, 2023 as Teacher Appreciation Day. Okay.
There's a lot of them there.
I know. But there? What makes you happy?
Come on, Bowser, come on, Bowser, come on.
You guys can come.
Oh.
Hey, guys. First, you go in first.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
One more. See, you gotta stay. Thank you.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you. We have one more proclamation, and this is for World Migratory Bird Day, May 13th. So let me read this to you. We have folks here from the Audubon Society and some local residents. Let's see here.
There's some birds in that tree, so talk loud.
All right, Town of Oakland World Migratory Bird Day, whereas the North American bird populations are declining at alarming rates with more than 3 billion birds lost over and overall numbers decreasing by 25%. And whereas migratory birds and their habitats are declining throughout America due to the growing number of threats along their migration routes and in both summer and winter homes. Whereas birds play an essential role in maintaining a healthy and resilient environment, yet cities and towns in particular become hazardous to birds by posing many threats, including habitat loss, pesticide use, predatory free-range cats, and coalitions with reflective windows and lighted buildings. Whereas the presence of birds provides a boost to the economy and ecotourism with diverse spin-off potentials. And whereas the town of Oakland is working to build a healthy, sustainable, and wildlife-friendly community that brings the many benefits of nature to all carriers of our community. Whereas the town of Oakland sits on the southern shores of Lake Apopka and has a thriving bird population that includes osprey, bald eagles, waterfowl, songbirds, migratory birds, and resident peafowl, and wishes to protect all of the bird species. And whereas the town of Oakland is a Tree City USA, and it protects its beneficial tree canopy which provides food and habitat for birds. And whereas the town of Oakland partners with the Oakland Nature Preserve to restore bird habitat and provide nature educational opportunities. And whereas the Orange Audubon Society works with the Oakland Nature Preserve, carrying out bird surveys and seeks to partner with the town of Oakland to continue to improve bird habitat and survival. Whereas the Bird Migratory Day was originally created in 1993 by the Smithsonian Migratory Bird Center and an International Migratory Bird Day, and since 2007 has been coordinated by Environment for the Americans, a nonprofit organization that strives to connect people to bird conservation, and since 2018 has been called a World Migratory Bird Day. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Stark, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Oakland, do hereby proclaim May 13th as World Migratory Bird Day. Wow. So we have a couple of residents and we have the representatives from the Audubon Society here. And I know you wish to make a couple of statements. Come on up to the podium and tell us your thoughts.
Well, thank you so much for doing this proclamation, and I just want to ask that you are first down this county in Orange County to do so. Great. Please, and hopefully we can do more with protecting bird habitat.
Thank you. I'm gonna give this one to you, but I also wanted to tell you that we are working towards being a pollinator city through the Bloom and Grow Society. So that proclamation will be coming soon. And you know, we really want to do what we can, and we also want to be pragmatic about how we support birds. And I just redid my front yard and it's all pollinator plants. So, you know, any little thing that all of the residents can do is greatly appreciated and will make a difference. Not to mention that I got 2 large oak trees that cost me a lot of money.
That's
Well, we do have a lot of oak trees, and we are, as we said, an oak trees or Tree City USA. Mine have been there probably 100 years before I got here. So hang on one second. I'm sorry. I'm signing these. Carla Song and Maureen Jacobson, we have a copy of this for you. I know that you guys were very integral part of looking at what we could do to help the birds, which we are always interested in doing, so. There's one for you. Thanks so much. Yeah. Commissioners, do you have anything to say? Otherwise, come on up and let's do it.
Where we going? Come on. That's funny.
Sorry, couldn't help myself. What you do, what you do. So much help for information. Thank you very much. Anything. Thanks. Then he gets up and speaks.
Yeah, good. You worked hard, we're not third away and
Yeah, I know. And then they took something off the agenda, then they put it back
Yeah.
on. It already crossed it out. Public forum. Those of you who are here that wish to speak on something that is not on the agenda, this is your opportunity to do so. I saw one person was signing in, but I don't know if you want to speak, but anybody who wants to speak, please raise their hand. Moving on, consent agenda. It's a short one. Do I have any questions or comments? If not, I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion to accept consent agenda as presented.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions, any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, resolution SRF loan application alternative water project. Who's Parker? You're taking this.
You've heard it all before. I'm gonna refresh your memory and then I'm gonna ask it for a while. So.
Not personally.
So the alternative water project is something that the county is working very openly on getting to this point. You know, it's been 5 years ago since we actually managed to, plan for this, and it was this was a need that was expressed to us by the Water Management District almost 2 decades ago. So it's time. So it's become a statewide issue. I think to meet this need, we've got to get this online sooner than later. You may recall that last year we had $2 million in the state budget to kind of kickstart it. That was subsequently vetoed. So the town has moved on. I'll go through this tower here just quickly. The purpose of this is asking you all to allow staff to apply for this SRF loan. It's a low interest loan made possible through the FDP, state of Florida. May or may not need this loan because we have 200,000 in this year's budget already budgeted for the design.
In our
This will
budget,
be a rollover.
in our budget?
Yes. It'll be a rollover project, so I anticipate we'll fund the balance of the design next year. So the loan, if you will, is just a loan approval to be used if necessary. I can't see the screen either, so. The proposed site location is on Hull Island Drive, down kind of like in the valley there between the two large portions of the Hull Island project. It's on nature preserve property that the town of Oakland owns. We've gotten permission from the Communities Trust to utilize 1.5 acres for this. Our source water is coming out of a stormwater canal adjacent to it. Just quickly, the facility design is kind of an overview. You see the future reservoir, that's probably 5 years after we actually bring it online without a reservoir. So it's really kind of a nondescript facility that will be behind landscaping and that. I seriously doubt that you'll be able to see it from Hull Island Drive. Eventually, that'll grow in. It's going to be adjacent to our lift station that's already down there. The next slide just kind of shows a plan view and a top view of it. As you can see, it is expandable. I've mentioned that to you in the past, so we're going to start small, be about 100,000 gallons per day capacity, which right now we're using a lot of water for irrigation. So this is really going to help. You know, I think if you recall the water supply plan that we looked at about, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago. Irrigation demand is our largest demand. We're using more for irrigation than we are for all other purposes. So time to cut into that.
Yeah.
Next slide. So basically, we've got a 2021 opinion of probable cost of 3.2 million for construction. And the design, which is already authorized, is about 319,000. Like I said, we have 200,000 budgeted this year, and we'll budget the balance next year. Now, just in case the economy goes bad, revenues don't come in or whatever, that's what the SRF loan is for. Back up.
So how much are you asking for the loan? How much?
319,000. And those are in $23. There's a lot of communities that utilize the state revolving fund just for this purpose. So, you know, they have payback of 10, 20, even some loans are 30 years, but I don't anticipate needing that. We'll see. So the action that we're requesting is that the town commission approves resolution 2023-3 that authorizes staff to move forward with applying for this loan.
And we should also mention that we are asking the state for $2 million for this very.
Again.
It was in the line, we didn't, I think you said it was in the budget last year, but it's, as far as I know, it's back in the budget
Yes.
this year. And we're hopeful that this year the governor will not veto it. But he is, you know, he is the environmental governor. He has
that's
named himself to be.
aspect. Let's just somebody go to Tallahassee and grab his veto pen.
Yes.
I think that'll work.
Any other questions or
State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection, is that part of this?
that's it?
Okay,
Right there where that red tag is
Yeah.
where your signature.
and I signed somewhere else also for it. Do we have any questions at the table?
I know. If it goes through, does it go through in full, or is there probability that they'll go through and just say half, or?
Our project is approved by the Department of Environmental Protection. It is a viable project. The project is approved. It's just not funded. So we can use dollar of that loan, or we can use it all. And that's kind of how we're doing the loan that we took out for the water plant over here. We did not use the full amount. So
Any other questions? All right, I need a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2023-3.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I'm gonna open this. It's a resolution. I don't need a public hearing, right? Or just to be safe.
Just to be safe, I would open it.
All right, we're gonna open a public hearing. Does anybody here have anything they want to say about this or questions they have to ask? You have to push Parker out of the way to stand at the podium. All right, we'll bring it back. Sure.
Yes.
Come on up, push Parker out of the way.
I just had a question about this loan. Is there going to be any,
State your name and
Yeah, we need your name for,
Leah Bihar? I'm a resident of Hull Island. So I live right off of Hull Island Drive at the front. Just wondering about the costs. If you do end up using the loan, will that be kind of transferred to a residence in terms of the irrigation later down the line? And also, whether it will be truly covered. I know that's not the topic, which is the loan, so, but I saw
whether it will be truly what?
the retention pond. It looks like it's right off of Hull Island Drive, so it kind of.
Yeah, that's just depicted that way. It'll actually be, I would say, probably 75 feet off of the right of way. And the right of way extends into the woods there already. So, you're looking at maybe 100, 150 feet off the road.
How far is it from that other retention pond? Pretty far, right? The one
Yeah,
that's. okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
quite a distance, actually, probably
So I
500,
get
600 feet.
And then the costs of the loan, if we do have to.
Yeah, so all, correct me if I'm wrong here, but all costs that the utility incurs have to be paid by the utility users. And as I mentioned before the meeting for you and the other gentleman, we're doing a revenue sufficiency study right now. And we're hopeful that that'll come back and we can lower the rates, but we can lower the tiers, how you've got the tiers in your utility bill.
Yeah.
So, but the short answer is yes, everything that the utility does has to be funded by the rates, not by the ad valorem.
Right. And there's no discussion of this facility also affecting any costs later down the line, right? For now, it's assisting the reserves that we have.
Yeah, we anticipate there will be less electrical because we're at, basically it's almost gravity. It's just barely have to pump it. It will require more treatment. So we just have to see,
And this does not affect the whole town. This affects only towns that have double meters or irrigation meters.
Yes. Thank you. This will be plumbed, it was a loose term, but it'll be plumbed into the Hull Island project. The avenues in Oakland, the apartments, the Oakland trails out there. And the future Riley Farms, which maybe it's coming. So, and Longleaf. So these other 5 neighborhoods will benefit directly.
Because they were already
That
way.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'll just make a statement, but it's not going to really affect the residents' monthly bill because they're already using water. It's going to be going through a different meter, but it's still basically going to be the same.
Yeah, you're exactly right. A lot of times this is false. What's it called? Perception. Yeah, perception that reclaimed water or something like reclaimed water is always less expensive. You've got all these upfront treatment costs that it's never less expensive. It was 30 years ago when they were first starting, but it's not. I think that in lieu of the revenue sufficiency study, if the thing came online today, it would be the same rate that you're paying right now.
so the benefit to the town is,
It lowers our consumptive use permit requirement, which, it's,
That's very, very,
we're right on the border of that. I think next year we're pretty sure that we'll cross that line. As long as we have this project in the works, there won't be any penalties.
that's big penalties, right?
Yeah, we didn't have this in place and we crossed the line with our consumptive use permit. Consumptive use permit is what we're permitted by the state to withdraw from the ground for drinking water and other purposes. So we're permitted for so many thousand gallons per day. And if we overshoot that, for any length of time, then we're penalized.
And that is part of the reason that we put in the tiered water rates to encourage people to consume.
Conservation.
So,
Good questions.
any other questions? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. I'm going to bring it back to the table. Do we have any further questions at the table? All in favor? Thank you, Parker.
Gracias. I'll stay up here. I got.
Oh, geez. So the next thing is transportation impact fees.
So.
Brad's coming to rescue.
So in brief, basically, we're asking you to approve the transfer of $150,000 from the transportation, or authorize the use of up to $150,000 from the transportation impact fees. These are fees that have been paid by new construction, commercial, residential, and all of that. And the two targeted streets are actually the two streets in town that really need paving. That would be South Brock and Sadler Avenue, quote, the school route. So anybody that's been caught in, in that traffic with all the dust, you know what I'm talking about. So basically the paving, and you can see it there on the screen, the paving would begin at Oakland Avenue, go down to the where the Lakeside Church is now, turn eastward, and then that little short section of Sadler. Now, Star Street, that is the remainder of that, is already under construction and to be paved right within the next month.
And the people, I mean, it's clear it's being worked on, but the people that abut this project have been notified.
Yeah, actually, I went out and canvassed the neighborhood and I talked to owners rep of the properties that would touch this road. And they're all in favor of it.
Okay, and you talked to the church.
I have
Who do you remember?
Don Wingate.
Okay. So anyway, I just want to make sure that everybody knows about it. But yeah, I think the need is there.
It's definitely gonna help out school and really the churches.
My nephew gets his wish, but it's about 3 years too late for him.
So, and I see your anxiety there about the Presbyterian Church. All I'm asking is that you allow the transfer of that money and then I will.
It's no problem, really, honestly.
I was gonna say, I'll talk to anybody I need. Don.
No,
Don handles the
yeah,
day-to-day stuff of the church,
I came up, I seconded you
Okay.
at a meeting, so.
Many cars drive by there?
A lot.
Oh, in the morning and the afternoon.
I mean,
A lot.
if you do the math, it's gotta be a lot. And do you
At the-
know how many parents drop their kids off and pick them up? And it's okay to say a lot.
It is a lot.
Outside of the 100 or the 150 out of the 600 students that are in kindergarten, first grade. Everyone else, I mean, outside of maybe
Yeah.
5% the carpool,
Yeah.
it's what we're 100% there, pick up and drop.
About
Like, 500 cars.
That's thousands for
Yeah,
a tour.
okay.
It's about 50,000 trips a year.
Mhm.
And you've also got the Presbyterian Church preschool that drives that route.
And the Lakeside Church.
Lakeside. Yes.
They're not supposed to, but they do.
So you see, that's more than a lot. That's a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's time. It's time.
And we will cease receiving comments about paving it after a decade of endless comments.
Endless comments. Endless comments from my nephew.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude,
Wash the car. It's please.
but I was like, dude, you work for Headquarter Honda. They have a car wash right there. Stop by.
Yeah, because unless you want to wash my car.
Yeah. Sorry, gotta follow the rules. You're not special.
It's the dust every time it rains.
So do you just,
Yeah, we're spending a lot of money after grading that road.
That, all the overhead of answering those emails and texts.
Yeah.
Pam,
complaining in my house?
School break. So.
Got your point.
Oh, God, he was.
So once again, staff is recommending the commission approve the allocation of 150,000 from transportation impact fees.
I assume that needs a vote.
Yes.
Okay, so any questions?
we need a motion?
Any questions at the table? Now I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the transportation impact fee allocation.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I'm going to open a public hearing. Does anybody want to push Parker out of the way to talk about this? All right, take it back to the table. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And that's what impact fees are for.
That's right. That's. No, it's money well spent. And I think when it is paid, one of the residents I talked to said she was going to bring cookies to the commission meeting and do all her.
Is that Nancy?
So approved. Well,
Everybody stay there.
That would probably be wrong. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, she was for it, and her daughter almost broke her neck going under the door.
Who's this?
They're ready. The something right here at the corner of that right one rock.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah, right across from Tony and Marla.
okay. The other Victorians?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's just bad names.
gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you, Parker. There's nothing to worry about. The church knew what they were talking, what I was talking about. So B, which I had crossed out, but I have to put back on the agenda, is Oakland Park Fourth Amendment to the development agreement.
Thank you, Mayor. Brad Cruz, serving the contract with town planner. And as the mayor said, we had on your agenda the Fourth Amendment, the Oakland Park Development Agreement, but this does have to come back to you as an ordinance. So this will come back to you next month as an ordinance for your first and second reading for your actual approval. But what we wanted to do this evening with y'all is just present what it is, get any feedback, any comments or questions or concerns you might have, or your support. So when we do bring it back, we can address any concerns you all may have about this. So what this amendment is specifically about, as you all are, I'm sure aware, there was some concern with the owners on Machi Avenue about the buffer between them and the new phase.
Mackey.
Mackey, thank you. I've been coming over here all day. Thank you. Mackey Avenue. And concerned about that buffer and that interface. Mr. Amon with Landover has been working quite a bit here since January, working with those property owners and lot owners to come to a solution that was acceptable to the landowners as well as with Landover and hopefully with the acceptance of you as the town commission. So what she's been doing is working with them on fences behind each of their homes and to have something that they support. And the amendment, what presented is currently within the development agreement. It calls for an 8-foot high PVC privacy fence along that entire boundary. That's not what people wanted to see behind their homes. So what is being proposed is this amendment is they will have the aluminum rail fence behind their home, 5-foot aluminum rail fence with landscaping. And it also would be somewhat, I'll say, individualized for each property, whether it's a flat top or a spear top, depending on how it fits in with the overall fencing along that area. Also, as you will see in there, some people are keeping their fence what they already have. It won't be changed on them. So it's working with each of these property owners. There's also the landscaping that will also be installed within that area. So that's what the amendment is doing as development agreement. It's removing that requirement for the 8-foot PVC privacy fence and providing the opportunity to implement this plan. It's basically an individualized plan for each of these adjacent properties to do something better. When we did review this, we do think this is an improvement, and we do see this as a positive thing of working with that neighborhood. So we do support and you would recommend for you all to accept this and to approve this when this comes back to you next month as part of an ordinance. So that's my short presentation. Ms. Draymond's here. She can give you the bigger story of all that she's done working with those residents, if you'd like to hear that from her.
I don't really have anything,
Okay, good.
except for I would love to push my partner out of the way.
Yeah. It's on.
Why'd you wait so long?
I know, right? General manager of Oakland Park. Yeah, the residents came to us and said, we really don't want this fence. And so we said, well, what do you want? And so we had a neighborhood meeting that over here in the old, I guess, town hall. And they came up with a plan and so we implemented it and been communicating with the residents and we've been fixing some drainage problems along the way because a few of them actually drain onto our property. So this also really helps that because as Mike knows, if we were to put that back on the residents to no longer drain on our property, that would have been pretty bad. So fixes the drainage, gives them the landscaping buffer that they want. And in my opinion, gets rid of a horrendous 8-foot PVC privacy.
Anybody at the table have any questions? Okay, I'm going to open it for brief questions. If anybody has any, please come up to the podium. You don't have to knock anybody away. So. Any questions?
Don't rush.
I think this is a really good thing for Winter's Landing.
Just one more thing, just so you know, we have probably over communicated with each one of the residents and we sent out the letter, everything that you have, this picture via FedEx so that everybody could be tracked and got it. So everybody is aware.
Great.
You can never over communicate.
No, you can't. It's not possible.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll bring this back to you next month under an ordinance for your final consideration and approval.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brad. Okay, the third item on the agenda under other policy matters is the hub. And I asked that this be put on there just so that we could have a very high level general discussion regarding it. This is effort by West Orange, Healthy West Orange. And they have this at the Heritage Center in Winter Garden. And I went to the ribbon cutting last week, like Thursday. And I had seen it before I had had a demonstration. There is some general discussion here about the lack of things that we can do for our folks that are in need. The hub is it's like a big screen. And you can go, if you're someone in need who doesn't need to walk, who can't walk 2 miles to the closest source of food or the closest source of help, this could be something that was here in Oakland. And it's a big screen, you go up to the big screen and you touch, I need food, I need shelter, I need whatever it is. And up comes all these resources that you can delve into to see which one suits you best. So anyway, I think that given the fact that we really don't have a lot here, and we're also, the Oakland Presbyterian Church is trying to coordinate distributions and help for our residents as a coordinated effort. That's being also worked on. But that's in its infancy. It's going to take a little while. So all I'm looking for at this point is to be able to either, I know Mike and Joseph, if we're talking about the Heritage Center, to just take a look at it and see if it's an option or not. It's not, nothing's written in stone, but it's not going to cost us a penny to do this. What Healthy West Orange will fund. So I just think it's a good thing that we could get off the ground quickly if we can find a spot for it. And we can help people understand, people in town, we can communicate it, so on and so forth. So I just, I didn't know how involved you two want to be. I was looking for someone to take point. If nobody, or I can take point. It's up to you guys. And I would keep you informed every step of the way. So it's up to you. If you're interested, we're not going to vote on this tonight. But if you have questions or you're interested, just, now's the time to discuss that.
Okay, I'll give you my thoughts first. I think the idea is a great idea. And if there's a way to do it, then I'm all in too. And if you need someone to sponsor it, I'm more than happy to do it. If you want to do it and keep us either way, I go, but
I have no
but
opinion.
my only concern will be the space.
Yep.
And we've talked about it. Well, two things, space and privacy for people.
Yes,
That would be the other thing. And I don't know if we're,
Healthy West Orange has, I'm sure, has data and parameters about privacy.
right.
We will definitely take that into consideration.
I would say, it's something for us to look at because it's a good thing. And maybe we can come up with some sort of an option for, and Mike Parker might even be able to put in some sort of a spot that's to the side of it, that's maybe kiosk type thing.
There is a kiosk for it.
Like that.
There's a
So it's not
PC.
inside the,
Yeah, there's a PC also that comes with it, but that's inside.
yeah.
But yeah, we can talk about all of that.
Yeah.
This is, I think, their first installation
Okay.
is in Winter Garden. So I'm sure they're learning things as they go.
Right. So-
But yeah, if we do not want to dismantle the ambiance that we already have.
Right. That would be-
And that would be a concern. But it's got to be somewhere where the public can get at it pretty easily during business hours at least.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but that's all conversations.
Well, I
that
say
can
that's
be
something
had.
that we can take a look at, to go forward. So.
Joseph?
Joseph?
Well, I think it's a great idea. My only question would be, what else can be done with it? What else information can you feed through it? How?
There's a lot of stuff on there. I would, and I'll be happy to go with you guys, but I would suggest we take a trip down to Winter Garden and look at theirs, because it's there for the taking to look at. And you'll see all the opportunities. And we're also talking to Healthy West Orange because they have a lot of vendors or people who help that. Look, there's like these, we did this during COVID. We helped residents in need with these boxes that
Right.
would feed 2 people for 2 weeks. It was amazing. And it shipped right to your house.
Yeah, this is really understanding, what's the capacity, because Orange County does a lot, but I know we don't have anything for them to plug into. I know they had a program where you could plug into your TV. If you had a TV in town, and it was really around transportation. So it was at the Metro Plan. So they have like a program where you can plug in to any kind of source that can help with transportation or any information around town. So anyway, we can be a hub to share.
That'd be awesome, because our dream of transportation surtax and having links, transportation, that's gone to the wayside. Because it's really, I think a lot of it is a matter of transportation, 2 miles is a long way.
Yeah, 1 mile is a long way.
Yeah, and there are a lot of folks who don't have a car, don't have even a bicycle, and that would be hard. So I just think it's hopefully could be low hanging fruit, and West Orange is leading the way in identifying all the options. They may already have Orange County accounted for. I don't know. But I think that if we talk to, it would probably be Lisa Betcher from West Orange. And if we put maybe somebody from the Heritage Center just on point to kind of figure it out, doesn't mean it has to be in Heritage Center, but we need an employee to work with them after we take a look at it.
It's certainly worth taking a look at to see what we can do, because the idea is a great idea.
I think it's wonderful.
It's great. Yeah.
Where's the one in Winter Garden?
It's at the Heritage Center where the little choo-choo is. And you walk in the door and it's right there.
Was on the
So theirs is inside.
It's inside. Yeah, that's, I think, gonna be the hardest part.
Right.
right. Yeah.
So,
It's a great idea. My sister was at the
Yeah, she was there.
Told me all about it. I think, I'm glad that Winter Garden is doing it first. They get to bring us all the data to see what's
They're the guinea pigs.
the pros and the cons by the time we're headed towards making that decision. But at least we'll get the pros and cons of what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And where to put it. And if it's a kiosk outside, to the west side of the
Yeah.
scene with a bathroom garage somewhere where it's right in people's faces, like you said, for privacy, but it's there. I think it's a great idea.
And I think we'll get those questions answered because my first question would be, it's great that it's in the Heritage Center and I love it as a prototype. But can the people from East Winter Garden get there easily? Yeah, but maybe I don't know, I'd have to ask, but are they putting one and they in the Healthy West Orange building, which is really in East Winter Garden?
It's really about the information. And maybe I'm, from one of my pet peeves, but I really wish all the healthcare providers will play well in the sandbox because the Orlando Health and the Florida Hospital, whatever, Advent Health, they don't play
Well,
well.
there's a rivalry there.
And you got the community health center there too, that really supposed to serve the Indian.
Is that in Shepherd's-Hope?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Right on 50, right behind Seacoast Bank. This a.
Yeah,
nice-
I know what you're talking about.
That is a nice facility.
If you can get there.
Right, right. They have everything, specialists and everything, but people don't know about them.
Are they part of Healthy West Orange?
No, they're separate. I think they're part of I think they're federally run. And it's in this area, it's probably about 10 or 15 of them.
Yeah, see, we could spin on this all day long.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I wish all of
It's your real-
healthcare access
Yep,
can be fed. And
questions to ask. I think.
those questions, that's the only thing I want.
I mean, maybe it's a meeting you have to advertise it.
Right.
With them,
I
so
think
everybody can huddle,
That's probably the first step.
And then we got to identify somebody who works for the town to take point as a town employee.
Quarterback.
Pardon?
So you're the quarterback.
I'm happy but we need an employee.
Yeah.
To, really stay on top of it. But I will tell you that, the Presbyterian Church is working very hard to identify people from all the churches and all the processes, it's like the coalition of churches all over again. So that, Francine passed away, so that food distribution stopped.
Right.
So that we can find out what everybody's doing, because there's a Hispanic church at the Baptist church. And that the minister, Senor McBride, who was my daughter's Spanish teacher. And, he was telling me that they do help people in need from the church in like things like furniture and clothes and food. And we need to know that. So,
It'd be nice to start the coalition of churches again, just for that communication.
not,
For the communication, like, that was a great avenue or place for us to.
the minister at the Presbyterian Church is like chomping at the bit for this. So what we are doing is setting up meetings with the other ministers. To find out what they're doing and to try it after that. So
Everyone was involved and everybody was very happy about it.
It did well.
it died for lack of management.
Now here, so Lakeside would want to join us now, so
So,
I'm sure.
and maybe it'll.
Now.
Again.
All
right. Well, anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to bore everybody to death, but this is an important subject for this town. We have people in need and we need to help them.
Yes, that's correct.
So, and there is as you well know, we have a Habitat for Humanity lot that's in progress now that will be built on, and that'll be probably our 15th Habitat for Humanity home. It's just been a little while because they did the 7 welcome back homes in between.
Right.
So we have 15 Habitats for Humanities and 7 welcome homes.
Yes.
What they call it, home. Oh, something, welcome home.
I welcome home and now it's gone.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
called something else.
But if it's called something else, I could never.
Anyway, that's, that's it.
All in class. That's what it was.
Anyway, idea is great, and you're right. I think probably the first step is to get everyone together, find an employee that can work with us.
Yeah.
And then shoot from there.
And I talked to Jack, so he's aware that we're, want to do this. And we'll take it from there. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I socialized it. This is the easiest way to socialize it with everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
So, all right. We're down to town manager report. So, Mr. Town Manager for 2 weeks, what do you think?
I understand that Mr. Butler already updated you as far as where we sit, so there's my report. You have it from him and.
Boy, man, very good job. You have a you've got a career coming in. Don't quit your police job.
I will, you gonna close, that's it.
Yep.
Major changes.
Hey, if we don't end up on the news, we'll be happy.
Okay.
Unless it's good news.
Yeah.
Good news, because I don't do bad news.
Okay.
All right, so we will move on to mayor and commissioner reports. We want to start with. Nothing? Okay,
Okay, good.
you did a big Boy Scout thing.
Yes, pretty big.
Yep,
And it was a big turnout. I think they raised $740,000 in one night. So our district Boy Scouts is second to all those
Bless you.
7 counties. But we're by a country mile. And we raised 65,000, they raised 740. So it's a big gap.
wow,
But everyone else, Poplar, I think did 19,000 and, all the other ones are 8,000, 12,000. So
Don't overestimate yourself. That's a lot of money.
that is.
5,000.
That's-
So,
And they had, they had to scrape the bottom of the barrel to find somebody to get the award.
oh yeah, it was very difficult and we had to hold her down to twist her arm and
Yeah,
we actually offered for next year, and which I already made it official this morning, to ask Rusty Johnson, mayor of McCoy,
sounds good.
accepted.
Good.
So
He's dedicated.
yes, he was super happy to hear it. He's got all kinds of stories. I couldn't leave his office because he wanted to tell me everything he did when he was little and how he's a life scout and he jumped from one building to a tree. And I was like, let's hold that speech for next year. So I'm happy about that for the community.
Very good. Joseph?
So it's not me, but I just want to remind the town, we have an International Jazz Day event on Friday, 4 to 7 p.m. So April,
Trying to change time.
right, well, it's really a special event. April is Jazz Appreciation Month. April 30th is International Jazz Day worldwide.
Okay,
So if you turn on TV, PBS, you're going to see jazz events all over the world. Herbie Hancock Institute, I think it's year 11. Yeah, it was year 11. So you're gonna see a lot of jazz events all around, even Sunday, actually April 30th. So we have some live music. I think they have a food truck. I know he's gonna have some food. I know we got the general store. That's gonna be a big.
yeah, they've been advertising.
Yeah. This one.
Awesome. Mike?
All right, just a couple of things first, that no new news on the canal. It's all gone forward. I think the mayor signed the updated dates, but we starting like the 4th of May, something like that. And we move on with it. And again, publicly, I would thank you, Deborah, for you guys' participation and working with us on it. It is greatly appreciated. Second, as a reminder, the gala is on the 12th. If you can or you can't attend that, it's going to be a very cool event. So third is on the May 23rd, we at our meeting. I don't know if Jack has sent that out to all of us or not, on that we will have a 6:30 or 5:30 meeting. Has he done that?
No, I haven't gotten that.
Okay, the tree dedication that we wanted to do for the PTO and resolution to go along with it. He has set that for 5:30 on their 23rd of May meeting.
Okay,
So we would have the meeting over there and we'll do the tree dedication and resolution for the PTO as well as our meeting. There's a we're attending that. Long story short, we've got to redo kind of what's going on with the charter. I think I mentioned before on what we do with SAP. And that is kind of what we're going to have to meet about because we're going to have 4 meetings a year as a governing body.
well, and I think we need to be aware and supportive of the changes.
Well, that's what this, the first step is, here's what it is and here's what we are. What do you guys think? So that's the start of that. And that will be it. 5:30 over to the school in the cafeteria. Right before our 7 o'clock meeting here. Unless we have some conflicts and we can't be that, but that gets.
No, I'm in.
And that would be all I have. Pam, do you have anything to add about that meeting?
So 5:30 is the tree dedication, which will be outside. Outside of the school, something, and I think that with all the changes that are happening in their division and everything. For now, things that are going on, and then I think the idea is that the 6 o'clock would be like the school board meeting, and then you guys. That's right.
That'll be it.
All right, I went to the ribbon cutting. And I think that if we can figure out how to make this work even in a small way, it will benefit our residents. So thank you guys for being open to that. And I don't think I have anything else. So Joseph?
If all hearts and minds are satisfied, let's adjourn. It's
It's the problem that they're different times or it's a problem you have 2 votes.